Alright, I have my new valve. You see it's nice and shiny. And I have it taped up with about three passes around it with good pipe tape. Now, they also sell a valve cleaning tool, which is just a rod that has the right dimensions that you can push down here. Alternatively, you sometimes can find just some metal hanger wire that's the exact same dimensions. You just don't want to do it large enough that you're damaging the inside of it or making it wider than it actually is. Because you can get junk clogged up in the inside. You can see from this old one there is a bit of junk, but it's still clear. You always can, every once in a while, take your lid and hold it up in the air and look underneath of it and see if you can see light passing through. If not, you might want to clean it out with the rod. But anyhow, I'm going to use the same dimension socket. Get it on there. And crank it down. Now you don't have to do it super tight, just a good bit hand tight. That's good. And you'll see that it only gets in there about 2/3 of the way, but that's plenty sufficient. And now I can take the binder clip off, make sure I'm on the 15 psi, and put it back on there. Now, of course, the better you are at mitigating the pressure, not letting it get too high and letting the weight rattle continuously for hours on end, because that's what damages it, obviously. If you're good about, as soon as you hear the rattle, go ahead and drop the temperature down on your hot plate or on your stove just a little bit, then you'll do far less damage to it and extend the life of your valve. But just, yeah, plus two, you're saving energy because you're not using too much and just blasting all that steam out for no reason. So now we got this all finished up. It'll work well. So now let's check out how to care for some of these smaller pressure cookers. Unlike the small pressure cookers that have the rubber gasket, these large All-Americans, or all really of the All-American cookers, have a metal-to-metal seal on the inside. No rubber gasket needed. So there's no worry about having to replace it someday if it dries out. But what you do have to do is make sure that you keep this area where the lids and the cooker touches nice and lubricated. Now you can use pretty much any kind of stuff. You can use vegetable oil, hand lotion works, any kind of water-based or non-water-based lubricant will work. Just don't use something like silicone or something like that that'll permanently stay on there. What I like to use though is just some plain old chapstick. That way you don't have to get anything on your hands. You can easy applicator and just put it on there and make one pass around the rim. Just like so. If you start seeing a whole bunch of buildup on it, you might want to take a non-scouring pad and just clean the old chapstick or whatever material you have on there. Sometimes too you'll see some of this corrosion, like some patina. I guess it's from maybe some of the stuff coming off the flow or whatever, but every once in a while I get some of that around the rim that you have to clean off. But as long as you keep it nice and lubricated, you never have a problem getting the lid off. Sometimes though, if it does stick, what you can do is take a butter knife and put it in between and just gently pop it, and it will pop. So be careful. So what can go wrong with a pressure cooker? Well, I'll tell you a quick story that I read from a news article a while back where there was a lady in England that had one of these style pressure cookers. Although it was a much older model, it didn't have a pressure weight. It had a pressure release valve, which you can still buy on some pressure cookers. Instead of a rattling weight, it's more just like a valve with a kind of a thing you screw down to adjust it, and it lets the pressure out, a at certain points. But most likely she had one of those. And an older style, probably too, that didn't have a safety release valve, or maybe not even this little thing around here. And what she did was she cooked a lot of beans in it, which is always a no-no. You never want to cook anything starchy in a pressure cooker. That's very dangerous, because what will happen is it'll froth up in the inside, and all the junk will clog up the valve and whatnot. So what happened is she's probably cooking beans, and it clogged up the valve. The fire was still going underneath of it, and she walked into the kitchen and wondered why is this pressure cooker not rattling? You know, something's not wrong. So she probably maybe even turned the heat up higher, thinking that it wasn't coming up to boiling on the inside fast enough. And she probably maybe did that for a little bit longer, allowing the pressure to build and build on the inside. And I bet probably what happened then is she reached for the cooker to maybe take the lid off to see if anything was wrong. It was probably extremely hot because it's been on there with the stove so long. She probably maybe burned her hand or stuff, knocked it off the stove, and when it hit the ground, the force of it hitting the ground shattered it, and it ended up taking her legs completely off, like shrapnel from a grenade. So these things can be dangerous. And if also, of course, you too remember the Boston Marathon bombing. That was apparently a pressure cooker bomb involved in that. So these things, if they're not misused or not cared for properly, they can be dangerous and cause a hazard. But like I said before, all modern pressure cookers have so many safety features that as long as you're not cooking beans or something like that, you really have no worry. So I'll let your mind have ease with that. And I'll see you again on Mushroom Adventures.